Looks like we've got some people joining already. It's just now 7 o'clock, so we'll probably wait a couple of minutes before we launch in, but glad to see people popping in to join. And if you'd like to tell us where you're from in the chat, feel free.
Like Illinois and Arizona, Maryland,
Ohio, South Carolina,
Texas,
Niagara Falls. It's on my bucket list. Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Virginia. Hello, Philadelphia.
Syracuse. It's cold up there.
Germantown, Maryland. There's another Georgia. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's very spring-like here.
For the day. Louisiana.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, yeah. Iowa, Florida, all across the country. Long Beach, haven't seen any international yet. We usually have a few international folks joining us.
Is that San Francisco?
Yep.
Nice.
Arkansas. What did we decide? The abbreviation for Arkansas is AR, correct? Yes.
That's what I put. That's what's on the paper. Some more folks from Jersey. Florida.
Yes, AR, thank you. Ohio.
Ohio. Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
For those of you just joining, we're going to wait another minute or so before we get started, but this is the scholarship tips and strategies for seniors. New Jersey, Texas. And if you all wouldn't mind typing in what your grad year is, or if you're a parent of a student, we assume we have a lot of seniors here. It looks like lots and lots of seniors. Great. There's a junior.
Juniors too. Good.
A couple of juniors.
And ahead of the game. Nice.
The information we're going to be sharing will be just as applicable for juniors. Yes. But we wanted to give you seniors a little last blast help.
Freshman?
There's this freshman, yep.
Nice.
A junior from Kansas. And a parent of 3. Yep, everyone needs scholarships.
That's right.
That's why we're here. All right, well, let's see. I might just wait another minute.
Oh, we did have one other question while we're waiting that minute. Can you all let us know if you have applied for scholarships before? So you can say, 0 to 5, or no, maybe say 0 if you haven't applied to any. We want to know that, but maybe 1 to 5, that'd be helpful. 5 to 10. We just kind of want to know what your experience is.
Okay. Lots of people who have not applied. That's great to have you here. A few people have applied to a handful. Yeah. 1 to 10. Yep. Applied to plenty. 10 to 20.
I like yes, plenty.
Well, hopefully we will give you some information that you can use to help you, whether you're starting out or just trying to refine the process. More than I can count.
I like that.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get started shortly. Okay, everyone. Well, welcome to the NSHSS Scholarship Strategies for Seniors. We're going to walk you through a few of our favorite tips and insider information about tips that are going to help you to get those applications in and hopefully earn you some money for college. First, just a few quick facts about NSHSS in case you're new to the organization. We're an academic honor society that recognizes high achieving, diverse students. When we were established by Klaus Nobel in 2002, and he was a member of the family that established the Nobel Prizes. So our whole mission is founded on the principles of excellence and achievement and honor. We have actually now more than 2 million members across 170 countries and 26,000 high schools in the country, in the US. And we are a member-based organization. There's a one-time lifetime membership fee, but we offer fee waivers if your family has financial need. And, you know, one of the big benefits of being a member of NSHSS is the events, the webinars, access to all kinds of scholarship opportunities, and leadership opportunities, networking with like-minded students. And we also offer lots and lots of these types of webinars that are free, as well as now we're going back to some in-person events, which has been really great. And we also align with many, many partners who have services and products that align with you on your journey from that high school to college to career path. Today, we're going to just run through some of the basics about scholarships, how to plan your overall strategy, how to make your application stand out, a few myths, and then it will give you some of the specifics about the NSHSS scholarships. First off, you know, there are a couple of different kinds of ways to fund that college education. The loans are the ones that you have to pay back. So, you know, most, if not all, students are going to look to have some loans, but those are the ones you have to pay back. Hopefully, if you're a senior, you've filled out the FAFSA, you and your family have filled out that form, because that is going to help your university put your loan application, your package together. It opened in October, and I think the deadline for the FAFSA the initial deadline has passed. We've just learned too that some states are actually requiring seniors to fill out the FAFSA before they can graduate. So it's becoming more and more important, and it's one of the best ways to make sure that your university has that financial picture of you and in your family, so that they can better put together the grants and scholarships and federal loan package that will help you pay your way through their school. Grants are the ones that you don't have to pay back. They often require financial qualification, not always, but many times they do. And federal grants like the Pell Grant, for example, does require that you've filled out the FAFSA. And then scholarships, uh, don't have to pay those back. They can be local, national, merit-based, or need-based. And some scholarships are one time. So if you get them your freshman year, you need to reapply to other scholarships to have that same level of funding the next year. But others are renewable. We have a renewable scholarship right now through a partner. And those are the ones that are going to pay a certain amount every year. Those are very desirable. When should you apply? Seniors, now or never. We like to say apply early and often. And the biggest mistake is just not putting yourself out there, not doing the research, not applying at all. So if you're going to earn that scholarship, you're going to have to get your scholarship application in. Most scholarships, there are a lot of scholarships that are between the January to June timeframe, but we have scholarships that open throughout the year. So you should always be doing your research, looking for new opportunities, and you just, whenever you've got some time, submitting those applications. If you can get in that routine of making it just one of the things that you do as part of your schedule, it'll help you apply to more and more. Fall of senior year and then each year of college, make sure you've filled out the FAFSA, just talked about that. And then spring right now, this is one of the best times for you seniors to be spending that time getting those applications in, doing the research to find the best ones, and then just make sure to keep up with it ongoing throughout your college career. Make sure to keep NSHSS up to date when you do go from high school to college. If we've got your high school email address, you'll stop receiving all of the important information about our new opportunities. So make sure you keep your email up to date in our system. And yeah, a lot of people just, they don't know where to start. And it's true that applying for scholarships is a real time commitment. It can be daunting and you might feel like it's not even worth it, but trust us, if you invest the time, it can really pay off. Some people think they're not a good enough student, or it's just not for them. But, we're here to tell you that every single one of you is worthy of a scholarship, and you just have to get out there and give it a go. There are a few myths. I mentioned some people don't think their grades are good enough, but grades are not the only, and sometimes not even, a criteria for some scholarships. And there's really truly a good fit match for everybody. You don't have to be a high school senior to earn a scholarship. Many of our scholarships are open to all years of high school, and we also have a whole set of scholarships that are open to college students as well. And Joya is going to go through some of that in more detail in a bit. And then the other thing is, when you apply, you push the submit button and you think you'll hear right away whether you have earned it or not. It takes us some time. Once the deadline for that application passes, sometimes we get lots of applications and we take our time reading every single one of them. So getting through all of those applications, goes through a whole process. There's a committee of readers, and applications get read multiple times as we narrow down the field. And so it can really take 6 to 8 weeks from the application close date until we've completed those evaluations and selected the recipients. So just be patient with us. We will get back to you one way or the other with the results. One thing that we've started doing the last couple of years is a scholarship called Your First Scholarship. And it walks you through every single step of that application process, gives tutorials on each component of the scholarship. And as you're filling out that Your First Scholarship application, it's helping you build the toolkit you need to apply to more and more. So the main point here is once you apply to one scholarship, it makes doing the next one easier. And that toolkit of application materials can also be really helpful for your college applications. And the other thing that, just doing it once will help you communicate with your recommenders and sort of strengthen that bond that you have with them so that, every time you ask them for a recommendation, whether it's for a scholarship or a college application, they'll get to know you better. They'll have already some information about you to put into that letter. And those are super important. We'll talk a little bit more about letters of recommendation in a bit. And then the other thing people think is it's just so time consuming. Is it worth it? Knowing what opportunities are worth the time can take a little bit of research, but you really want to ask yourself, is this one a good fit for me? And if the answer is yes, it's worth your time to apply. Sometimes the lower dollar amount scholarships can be a little less competitive. And, if you earn a couple of those dollar amounts really stack up. So it's a good idea to go for those smaller amounts. The big money scholarships, absolutely apply for them, but some of them may be more competitive. There's going to be a larger pool of applicants. So just be realistic about that, but go for it. There's a whole bunch of no essay offers out there that have randomly selected winners. You can apply for those, but it's a little bit more like playing the lottery, or it's more of a chance. And sometimes, those might, go ahead and try, but they may not be as worth your time. And if something sounds too good to be true, just check to make sure the person offering that scholarship is a legitimate source. So how do you find those scholarships? Definitely start with your let's start with your high school counselors, the community organizations, even local banks often will have scholarships. This time of year especially, a lot of local organizations will be looking to help you seniors and celebrate you at your high school graduation. So look for local opportunities. Obviously, search engines. We like to tell people to put in the word scholarship along with something that's a particular interest, passion, or skill of yours. Dance scholarships, STEM scholarships, and see what comes up. There's scholarship aggregation tools that like FastWeb, Scholarship Owl, scholarships.com, And definitely always check out the opportunities that we have. And now Joya's going to dive in a little bit more on what we have available at NSHSS.
Alrighty, friends. So like Karen was saying earlier, there's so many different types of scholarships that are available, particularly through our organization. At the span of the scholarships, we really do try to highlight some of the things that are just important to us. We think about what's happening in the world, and we try to, have scholarships that really speak to not just kind of general academic excellence, which is the first thing there, but also just recognizing that there are all types of different students who are interested in all types of different things, and we try to create opportunities for each of you. So take a look at this list here. It's not exhaustive, but it does kind of show you just the scope of the different types of scholarships that we have available through NSHSS.
Sorry. Sorry, there we go.
Perfect. So we wanted to just give you some of the examples of the scholarships that we have available for seniors. Some of these are also include the scholarships that are available to high schoolers in general. So for those of you who are freshmen or juniors, some of these are available to you as well. I tell people all the time that we open our scholarships on a rolling basis. And so like Karen was saying, sometimes we'll start opening in the fall and then we'll go all the way, almost to the next fall in the way that we have them open and close, which is a good thing, so that if there's, a few scholarships that you're interested in, it's likely that they're not all going to open and close at the same time. So that does give you a little bit of time to be able to stagger your scholarships the way that you like. But this list here just kind of, further explains what I was saying about how our scholarships are very diverse. We have some that are focused on leadership. That's one specifically for seniors, our virtual valedictorian scholarship. That one's focused for seniors. But for those of you, like Karen mentioned earlier, who you haven't, done any scholarship before, whether you are a freshman or a senior, you can apply to the Your First Scholarship application program and start that process, because for the most part, the scholarship process is very, very similar. The virtual valedictorian, that one's a little different. You'll submit a video, but for the most part, you are going to write essays and show us through pictures, and you're writing on how or why you should win the scholarship.
There we go.
So this next one is for those of you who are seniors, but you'll be, going to college next year. Good news, we still have scholarships that we have available for you when you're in high school and in college, and that's really important. Like I said, for those of you who may not have applied for any scholarships yet, you may not have that much experience, but it's really important that like Karen was mentioning earlier, that you keep your email updated within our system, so that we can, because we'll send out our newsletter every month, and it will include those collegiate scholarships as well. So for those of you, if you feel like, oh, it's so late and I'm getting ready to go to school in the next few months, there are scholarships that you can earn while you are in college as well. Okay, so I talked about it just a minute ago, that for the most part, most scholarships are going to have kind of this simple body. So you want to pay attention to the eligibility criteria, the profile info, your personal statement. So profile info may be like where you're from, your high school, all the good stuff. Personal statement is really, really important. As someone who reads scholarships all the time, your personal statement gives us an insight into who you are and why you think you should win that scholarship, or it's an opportunity for you to share with us all the things that you've done that would, tell us why you are the most deserving, if it's in terms of leadership or if you are, a dancer, or if you are in STEM, what you do in those areas is really important. So the doing is very important, and then the writing and then telling us is very important. I know we're kind of taught not to brag on ourselves, but in a scholarship application, you don't want to you don't want to come across as a braggart, but you definitely want to tell us a story and include as many of those details as possible, because that really gives us insight into how much you've been able to do. Letter of recommendation, that's so very, very, very important. For those of you who are seniors, you probably already have people who, you're like, this person really believes in me. They've been supportive of me throughout my high school journey. But also, when you go to college, I'm going to mention that as well. There are, you'll have professors and people who are on campus who are interested in your future, and they show you, and they're encouraging you, they hold you accountable. Those are the people that you want to write your letter of recommendation, because they also can tell a story. Keep your resume up to date. You can go to our website and see an example of that. Your transcript, make sure that you know the process of getting a transcript and how long it may take. That's something that's important. You don't want to wait until 3 days out when it's due to ask for your transcript if it's a 2-week process. Headshot doesn't have to be anything professional or professionally done. But if you can just kind of get a nice picture, maybe outside, or, with a nice background or something that may show a little bit of your personality, that's always helpful too. That just gives us a kind of insight into you and your personality. The optional uploads and pictures, and I'm going to kind of go through that again a little later, but that's usually a part of an application. And then you want to make sure that with us, you sign and you give us certain permissions in terms of being able to contact you and all that good stuff. Okay, so when writing your essay, follow directions. I've done this before, and I'm so big on that, y'all. Like, if there's a guideline and it's 500 words, or if it's 1,500 words max or 500 words minimum, you don't want to turn in an essay that's 350 words. That's pretty much probably going to get you disqualified for most scholarships if that's a requirement. And that's something that prepares you for college as well. For those of you who are, getting ready to do that, or if you're going into a graduate program, teachers are sticklers, professors are sticklers on those things. So this is really just kind of continuing that preparation for where you're headed. Stick to the topic. So, answer the question. Answer the question. That it really is that simple. Answer the question. And tell us a story. Your essay, just like any story that you write, should have a beginning, middle, and end. So introduce us to us and who you are, your work. This is some of the highlights of that work, and then kind of wrap it up and maybe talk about what you'd like to do in the future, or the result of if you did a big project and how it ended. So make sure you take us on a journey. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you want to be specific. You really want to give us a lot of details. If it's that type of essay that's asking you what makes you a good leader, or tell us a little bit about your experience in this particular area. Tell us as much as you possibly can. Quality over quantity. So this one really kind of sticks out to me, when you are when you're telling your story, but also like on your resume, you want to show us that you are involved in things. But if you have like 30 clubs that you're involved in, the question is then, well, how involved could you possibly be with being a full-time student? And sometimes folks they're athletes as well and have all these things going on. So make sure that you are, this is just kind of a life skill as well. If you are involved in the things that you're really interested in, you're not just doing things just to put it on your resume. Reading aloud when you're doing your essay, that is one of the best ways to catch some of your grammatical errors. We always read what we think we wrote instead of what we actually wrote. So if you read your essay aloud, that's very helpful. Same thing in terms of the essay, you want to share it with folks. So your parents or your teachers or your friends who are good at writing, not people that are just going to be like, it's great, but folks who are going to give you some good advice on your writing so that it's the best essay it could be. So be creative. I don't want to, do too much with this, just make sure that you tell your story. Your story is good enough. So maybe there's maybe a creative way you can tell it, but you don't want to push this envelope too much. If you are a creative, fun person, then let us see your personality. But if you're kind of, by the book and you don't have to be super creative and entertaining, but if you can be, if it's a performing arts scholarship, visual arts or something like that, then that's where you do have a lot more room there, and the more creative you are, the better. So like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to your letters of recommendation, I can tell you, like I said, as someone who reads scholarships all the time, there are times where someone may write an okay essay, like it's good. May not be necessarily the greatest, but it's good. It's a good essay. And then their letter of recommendation comes in and kind of fills in all those gaps, and it makes their scholarship application really just kind of go to the next level. Because sometimes your educator just has been doing this for 20 years and they just really know how to write a good letter. So you want to make sure that you choose someone who is invested in you, someone who likes you, someone who wants you to succeed, because that actually does show in the letter as well. If they write one paragraph, it's going to be different than someone who writes a full page telling us all about the student. So make sure when you're choosing these people that you're choosing folks that you've built some rapport with, okay? Let's see. So you want to make sure that you give your recommender all the information that they're going to need to properly submit. You want to make sure that you read the application requirements carefully so that you know what is required and how much time you may need to complete it. Let's see. Also, educators, as we all know, they're very busy right now. They have a lot going on. So you want to make sure that you give them plenty of notice. I would say if you can give them a month's notice, that'd be great. And then you can remind them again at the 2 weeks mark. But that's like minimum. If you can do it way before then by all means do that. But you certainly don't want to wait to the last minute because like I said, the quality of those recommendations really do matter. And then you just want to show gratitude, handwritten cards, all that good stuff to your recommenders and whoever has supported you in terms of you getting your applications in. So I just said the don't. So in the do's are the don'ts. Don't ask for a recommendation at the last minute. You want to make sure you choose a recommender who knows you well. Make sure that you give your recommender as much information as possible. And that's really important when you're when you're applying for your scholarship and it's very specific. So sometimes you'll have a recommender who just writes a general letter of recommendation, maybe for you to get into college. But if you're applying for a STEM scholarship, we really want to hear more about why you are the person for this STEM scholarship because it's more focused. So the more you prepare, the more you can prepare your recommenders to help you in that way. And also, don't take it personally if your educator or the person you chose is not available to do that. That's why you want to build rapport with a lot of people, have a lot of people, not a lot of people, but, you want to have a few people that you've built relationships with who are willing to speak for you and can write those recommendations for you. So your resume is going to include your contact info, some things about your academic journey, and that starts to fill out more as you progress, to college and that type of thing. Leadership activities, extracurricular, community service is a really big one. That really kind of lets us know, shows us that you're kind of diverse in the way that you approach life. And I can tell you, like, you have a really strong community service background and your grades may not be, A+, but you may be, an AB student. That actually does matter depending on the scholarship. So make sure that you stay balanced and that you include any of your community service things on your resume. And then you want to make sure that you have a few references as well. So this quote, I love it. It's from Grayson. Is it Hoy?
Hoy.
Okay, Hoy. So he says that we are all the sum of our experiences. He recommends adding unique skills and experiences to your resume to make it personal and unique. So just kind of what I was just saying, your story and your experiences are good enough. Share with us your journey. We want to know about it.
Grayson has written a blog for our website called What Your Application Needs to Earn That NSHSS Scholarship. You can find that on nshss.org. Check that out. And also, I wanted to just remind everyone, if you are coming up with questions, be sure to pop them in the chat. We're going to have a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A. And just in case you're wondering, this is being recorded and we're going to publish the recording on the website, so it will be available for you to watch again. So thanks, Joya, for taking us through all of that. What makes an application stand out? I'll just reiterate, I think you've covered so much of this already, but read and reread the instructions. The best way to get an application put in the no pile is to not answer the question that's being asked. And I know Joya already talked about that, but it is so important to specifically address the prompt that's being presented to you, and be authentic. Really, again, she mentioned telling your story and telling it in your way. Each application should be, so different. And so, one of my colleagues used to say, if I spread all the applications out, someone who knows you should be able to find your application from the table because it's written in a way that, is uniquely you. Be thorough. Those grammar, those grammar problems, misspelled words, they really do make a difference. So if you can get somebody to help proofread, just pay attention to those details. It can help you stand out. Optional. Some items in scholarship applications say that they are optional. If you don't have anything extra like a photo or a video or some support materials to that makes sense for the scholarship, that's fine. But if you do, and you can pull it together and submit it along with your application, it can give you an edge. The more you can tell us your story in different ways, the better picture we'll have, and the better chance you'll have of standing out. Deadlines matter, and try not to wait until the last minute. We get lots of people who have legitimate technical issues at the last minute, and sometimes we can make accommodations, but not all the time, and not all providers will. If some people will have a firm deadline, and if you miss it, too bad. Joya talked about the recommenders. I don't think I need to push that one any harder, but get to know some of your teachers well so that they can write those great letters of recommendation and leave a lasting impression. We want to still be thinking about that application after we read it. We get some of the best advice from some of our scholarship winners, and we've invited them to present webinars like this or be on panels. And over and over again, the students who we talk to who have been successful talk about how staying organized can make the difference. Creating a spreadsheet of applications that you think you want to apply for, what the deadlines are, what the components are that you need, creating folders where you've got essay drafts, and then you can refer to an essay that you've written for one application, and you may be able to pull that out and tweak it for another application. I don't recommend cutting and pasting an entire essay from one to the other to the next, but you can use components over and over again. And then one of our scholarship winners who presented at one of our Scholars Day events shared her spreadsheet with us. I think she said she applied for, 40 different scholarships, and she ended up, here you can see, she ended up with more than $30,000. And after she gave me this version of the spreadsheet, she said, "Oh, I've gotten more since then." So she was super organized and applied for lots and lots of opportunities. I think she didn't get them all, but she got a good chunk of change to help her pay for her Clemson University tuition. And Rishi is another one of our scholarship winners who likes to talk about not starting from scratch. And, he has applied for a lot of scholarships and, talks about recycling bits and pieces, like I was saying. And he's also presented at one of our coffee chats, I think, and he talked about scholarship strategies, which is it's also posted on our website if you'd like to hear directly from Rishi. And here are just a few more resources that we have available or that we recommend. Obviously, the NSHSS scholarship pages, www. You don't even need the W's, nshss.org/scholarships. Also the blog where you can find lots and lots of advice about scholarships, tips from scholarship recipients. If you're an NSHSS member, you'll receive our regular newsletter where we highlight all of the open opportunities, what scholarships are closing soon, and what might be upcoming that you want to start thinking about. So that newsletter comes out about once a month. Some of the search engines, Google, FastWeb, CapEx, definitely use those to look for opportunities. And then I talked a little bit about the legitimacy. NSHSS is a member of the National Scholarship Providers Association. Any of the providers who are members of NSHS, of the NSPA, are great resources for scholarships. And then we have a whole host of partners. Big shout out to some of our partners. We partner with the CIA, and the State Department has a scholarship opportunity available to our members right now. We've got a really great renewable scholarship with Abercrombie and Fitch, which is open right now. There are many other partners that are great opportunities. You can find some of them on our website. And they also offer leadership opportunities, some study abroad. So happy to share those with you as well. What do you say, Joya?
So y'all, this is, we're wrapping it up here, but we just want to let you know that you've got this. We kept this slide in, we put the slide in because we wanted you to know that you don't have to fit into one particular box in order to apply and receive or apply for and receive scholarships. So don't be intimidated by it. The process, literally, like I mentioned earlier, is pretty much the same. Once you get those elements, get those pieces together, then it's kind of rinse and repeat. You might have to, rewrite or write in, multiple essays. But I would imagine that if you are applying for scholarships and they're really, really close to, your own interests, then, a lot of those essays may actually be very similar. So don't be intimidated by it. Take it one step at a time, get organized. And if you haven't applied for a scholarship yet, let's start with your first scholarship. That's a great way to get started and to, prepare yourself for the next level. So We're excited, we're grateful that you joined us. And if you need to contact us, that's our information there. You can also go to the website and find it as well. We are so happy to help you in any way. We receive emails all the time with questions. And we, look forward to just helping you all achieve your academic dreams.
Thank you, Joya. We've got about 10 minutes left in the hour to address some of your questions. Again, this is recorded and we'll share it with you all. It'll be published on our website if you want to go through the slides again. But let's get to some of your questions. I'm going to stop sharing. And let's see if we can get some questions answered. This one I've seen a couple of times pop up. When is the best time for juniors to apply? Juniors, if a scholarship says it's, if you're eligible for it, if it says it's open for juniors, it's a great time to apply for it. Same with sophomores and even freshmen. What NSHSS does is if a high school student earns a scholarship and they haven't enrolled in college yet, we'll hold that scholarship award for you until you find out where you're going to go to school and are enrolled. Because what we do is we write the award amount to the institution directly. So once you enroll in school, if you've earned one of our scholarships, you'll let us know the financial aid office address and we'll send the scholarship off. It will be applied to your tuition. So now is a great time. It's never too soon. Here's another one. Are there any international scholarships or scholarships that can be applied in another country? The way our scholarships work, you can apply those scholarships to any accredited university. So if you choose to go to St. Andrews in Scotland, we'll write the check to that institution. Let's see.
There's one here that asked, will I be okay if I wait until I know what school I'm going to? I would say that you want to go ahead and get the process going. The only thing that you actually may want to ask or figure out when it comes to different schools is kind of the process, the way that they handle scholarships and financial aid. You want to be very clear about how your school handles it so that because we would be considered an outside scholarship. So you want to just kind of know what that process is like. But you definitely, I would say you don't want to wait until you know what school you're going to. It doesn't hurt to have additional scholarship money. Most people need it. Even if you receive a full ride scholarship, you may need it for books or you may need it to eat or something. So the earlier that you can start the application process when it comes to scholarships, the absolute best. That's the best.
I see a question from a parent just wanting to know, is it always the student who's applying for a scholarship? At least with NSHSS scholarships, yes. The student is the one we want to hear from, and we expect that all of the scholarships that come in to us are from the student. Here's one, Joya, you might want to answer. Who should a student seek for a recommender if they're homeschooled?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you want to then, reach out to someone in your community. So that's when I was talking about community service, or, if you have any kind of religious institutions that you're a part of, any extracurricular activities that you may have. Those are the folks who know you, who've kind of watching you grow in different space. It doesn't have to necessarily be an academic space, but they could speak to your character and how diligent you are, how hardworking you are. So those are the folks that I would consider asking to write a letter of recommendation.
Here's one. Are scholarships only available for college freshmen? So let's see. Many of our scholarships you can apply if you are in high school or maybe in college. And if you earn that scholarship, let's say if you're a senior and you earn a scholarship, we ask when you want that scholarship money to be applied. And, most people will choose either the fall or the spring semester of their freshman year. But there are times when someone asks for it to be deferred to the next year, and that happens sometimes. And you can also apply for some of our scholarships as a college sophomore or junior, and if you earn it, apply that award to one of those tuition years. I think I answered that one. What if you have tuition paid? Oh, there's a question, if tuition's paid for, can a scholarship be applied to other expenses like room and board? Typically, yes. It can go into your student account at the school. And I know some scholarship providers have different rules. So it just depends on the specific scholarship, but most of ours, as long as it's an education related expense, we're happy to help. Where is the Your First Scholarship link? If you go to nshss.org/scholarships, you'll see the Your First Scholarship program on that page. That one's live right now, isn't it? Yep.
Yep, it is. Here's one. Says, do you have a reference guide that lines out timing on things? So they're asking just kind of about timelines. So that's, when we mentioned earlier, that's really a really important part of the process for you to kind of go through and decide. There's so many different scholarships and they have different due dates. And so working out your time is really going to be an individual thing because you know how busy you are. So there isn't necessarily a timeline in terms of when things have to be done outside of due dates. And that's kind of, even when it even applies to some of the things that you'll have to turn in for your college. So you just want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to complete each of the tasks so that you can get everything done on time.
Here's one. When do companies confirm awarding scholarships? My daughter's pending on selecting the school of choice based on affordability. So scholarship providers, at least NSHSS, will announce the results of a scholarship 6 to 8 weeks after the deadline. So that's our timing, and we open and close scholarships throughout the year. So we're constantly reviewing and selecting and announcing results. Yeah, when you're in that senior year and you're trying to wait on the schools to give you the financial aid package and figure out what your bottom line is going to be, knowing what scholarships you have available to you can help, but it might not always be possible just because of open and closed dates of our scholarships. But many of our scholarships for seniors do close by May so that we can make the awards and pay by the time the spring tuition, fall tuition is due. What would you say to those like me who've been trying and not receiving any scholarships? I'm an excellent student with a 4.0 GPA and many clubs that go towards my future degree. Yeah, that's, just keep trying and try to maybe, I don't know if you're asking for people to review your scholarship applications to see if you can get some advice on ways to make it really shine, and making sure whoever's submitting your letter of recommendation is somebody you really think is going to also paint you in a light that's very complimentary, and will let the reviewers really see who you are and what you have to offer. It can be competitive, and not everybody can win, so that's tough, but just keep trying, keep applying. Let's see, we have a couple more minutes. In the chat box, there was a question about scholarships for students with learning disabilities like dyslexia. We don't have any specifically. Joya, do you know of any? I think that I have seen scholarships for students who have overcome adversity, but I off the top of my head I don't. But I don't know. Try searching, and you may come up with something. And I would say, that can be part of your story in an application. If you're applying for a leadership scholarship or one that's focused on advocacy, and you've overcome or helped, you've succeeded despite some disability, that's really a story to tell in a scholarship essay. Let's see. How does the scholarship come off the bottom line? This one, it sounds like it might be talking a little bit about the scholarship displacement issue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So some schools will put together your financial aid package, which is, their institutional grants and scholarships, federal loans and grants. And then if you're required to report outside private scholarships, or if the school receives an outside private scholarship, some schools will lower the amounts that they're offering you because of this outside amount that's come in. They're only going to give you so much. And if you earn outside scholarships, it's going to lower the amount they deliver. Other schools will just add that outside scholarship to your total package, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm not sure if I answered the question that was being asked exactly, but that is a question we do get. Not seeing, does anybody have any other questions? We are almost out of time. Let's see. Joya, do you see any other questions in the chat maybe? Oh, if we apply for an NSHSS scholarship, are we notified by email? Yes, that's exactly how you'll be notified. So make sure you keep your email up to date in our system. And you'll usually get an email from scholarships@nshss.org. Let's see, we have time for maybe one more question, two more. How can we apply for scholarships? Go to nshss.org/scholarships and find something that looks like a good fit and go step through the process. If your child attends a low-income school but doesn't come from a low-income family, would they still qualify for scholarships for low-income families? I think that scholarships that are need-based, where you have to submit financial information and or meet certain financial criteria to be eligible, those are looking at the family's income. Someone wants us to elaborate on scholarship displacement. It's a big topic, and maybe since we're out of time, we can consider doing a separate webinar that talks a little bit about that, or maybe we could just do a short lunchtime coffee chat or something on that topic. Thank you for that question. We can try to answer that next time. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Joya, for helping to step through this. Again, I'm Kane. I'm the Director of Scholarships and Communications for NSHSS, and Joya Moore is our Scholarships Manager. And we've enjoyed spending the evening with you. Hope we shared a few tips that you can use. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email us at scholarships@nshss.org. And thank you so much.